So in today's video, we're gonna be reviewing one of the best demonstrations of oud I've actually ever smelled in a fragrance, and probably one of the most elegant fragrances in my entire collection. And that fragrance is Fragrance du Bois New York Intense. So if you want to hear my thoughts on this fragrance, stay tuned. Hey, what's going on guys? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, glad to have you here. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, please hit the subscribe button down below. Be sure to hit the notification bell and also be sure to follow my fragrance Instagram page. But as you guys can all tell by the intro, that is correct. I'm bringing you guys a review of New York Intense by Fragrance du Bois, and I'm so excited to be reviewing this one for you guys. But before we hop into the review, I do want to mention that this fragrance was sent out by Fragrance du Bois, so thank you for that. But that will not affect my opinions whatsoever on this fragrance. But I will leave their link down below where you'll be able to purchase this fragrance and many others from their collection. But let's go over some information about this fragrance really quick. Now, this fragrance was actually launched in 2020, so it is one of the newer fragrances that has been released, not even a year old now. Now, also the nose behind this, the perfumer is Pierre Constantin Aguirre's. I'm not really familiar with him. I don't know any of the really creations that he has made besides this one, but after trying this fragrance and knowing he's the perfumer, I'm definitely gonna check out some of his other work that he has released. But now the price tag for this fragrance is pretty high, and it only comes in one size that I believe is only the 100 ml, and it retails for $315. Now, also the concentration on this fragrance, it does say parfum on the front label there, but it is not an extrait de parfum. It actually is a eau de parfum, as you can tell on the label underneath there. Now, let's go ahead and go over the packaging and presentation of New York Intense. So for packaging and presentation for Fragrance du Bois, I believe they all come in the same box, which is this nice Fragrance du Bois box that has the Fragrance du Bois logos all the way around it that is textured, which is very, very nice. And then on the front, of course, you have their logo. You have Pure Oud, Pure Luxury, which they stand by 100%, which I love. And then on the back, of course, you have your information, the fragrance, the size, the concentration, and your batch code and barcode to authenticate your product and see when your product was produced. But then here, when it gets very, very luxurious, when you open this top here, like so, set that to the side, it kind of comes in this, like this door that pops down, and it sits a complete velvet box. Now, of course, you have this nice gold plaque on the front, and this thing is velvet all the way around, even on the bottom, which is very nice. And then you open the top right there, and you have this gorgeous red silk where your fragrance will lie and settle in there. And then of course you have a Fragrance du Bois card that talks about the house and pretty much authenticates your product and stuff like that in every single box. But also what I like about this is this box is very versatile. So all you have to do is take out this red silk where your fragrance lies, like that, and this pretty much turns into like a jewelry box where you can put your watches, your necklaces, rings, anything like that in here, which is very nice to display all your jewelry, which I think is just a lovely feature that they do with their packaging. Of course, this is, like I said, pure luxury. Now let's look at the bottle really quick. Let me put this to the side for now. Now also the bottle is beautiful as far as attention to detail goes. Of course, you have this nice black and gold plaque right there. That's not a stick or anything, that's actually a plaque. Up top, the Fragrance du Bois logo. And then you have this beautiful black Swarovski crystals all the way around the cap there. And then on the back, it says an original perfume by Fragrance du Bois. I believe this is their newer logos. I have another one behind me that's different on the back. It says made in England, I think, and then a perfume, original perfume by Fragrance du Bois, kind of like in bolder big letters, but I think this is the new style. And then of course on the bottom, you do have your batch code right there and pretty much information. Now this fragrance is pretty high in concentration. It does say do not spray directly on the fabric because of course fabric can stain from the fragrance oils, but just be aware of that if you want to, especially like on a white shirt. And then now the cap is not magnetic, it doesn't clip into place or anything like that, but you can pick it up by the cap. It's very snugly on there. You kind of lift it, and the cap is very, very solid. Just look how thick that gold metal plating is on there, or whatever it is. Just very, very solid stuff here. And then of course you have your atomizer right there. But for packaging and presentation, guys, I have to give Fragrance du Bois a solid 10 out of 10. Absolutely elegant, luxurious as can be as far as fragrance packaging can go. These are absolutely probably one of my favorite bottles I've ever actually seen in the box, guys. Just solid packaging and presentation. So 10 out of 10 for that. Let's hop over to the smell now. So in the top notes of New York Intense, you're gonna get blackberry, cinnamon, rose, orange, bay leaf, and coriander. The middle notes, you're gonna get gaiac wood, cloves, olibanum, honey, vanilla, immortelle, and orchid. And in the base notes, you're gonna get myrrh, agarwood, which is oud, patchouli, musk, vetiver, and cedarwood. So what I get from New York Intense, as you can tell, that's a very complex note list in this. A ton of notes went into this fragrance, but right in the opening of this, I do get a slight citrus note, which is orange. The orange isn't like overpowering or anything like that. This is not pretty much a citrus fragrance. It doesn't last that long at all. As you can tell, there's not many citruses in this fragrance. All you have is the orange, no bergamot, nothing like that, no lemon. But I do pick up on like a nice orange nuance in this, especially for like the first 30 minutes or to an hour or so, not so long, but it is there. But also what's very dominant and what sets this apart, in my opinion, is the blackberry note in here, guys. Very berry-like dark blackberry note in here, which I absolutely love. I think that just makes it very complex and it just stands out. But alongside that, this is actually pretty resinous. I believe the myrrh in here stands out a lot too. It's not like a nice, like a bitter myrrh, which can kind of come across like rubbery, but it's a nice, settle, kind of sweet myrrh in here. And as you guys know, I'm absolutely a fan of resinous fragrances such as like frankincense, myrrh, stuff like that. This brings like life to the fragrance, in my opinion. But also what the main player in this fragrance is, of course, agarwood, of course, oud. Now, what I love about Fragrance du Bois, if you guys don't know, what they stand behind is they're pure oud, guys. They use 100% natural oud. Over at Fragrance du Bois, I believe these are made in England, I believe. Yeah, in the United Kingdom. They actually have their own oud farms where they source everything out, grow it in-house, and they also, I believe, supply oud to other niche fragrance houses as well. So you're gonna get the absolute best oud in any fragrance within Fragrance du Bois. Now, the oud in here it does come across, well, when the oud first comes in, about like an hour or so in, alongside the blackberry, the myrrh. You also have cinnamon in here. The cinnamon's not too heavy. Maybe more so like it starts to come across more in the dry down, but you also get like spiciness from the cloves and stuff. But the oud, it's not like that barnyardy oud. It's more of like, kind of like a clean oud, to be honest with you, but just done so well and so sophisticated. So good. The oud, the blackberry, myrrh, it just works phenomenal together. Believe me when I tell you guys, this is a sophisticated fragrance. Now, you're gonna wanna wear this in the fall and winter, not in the spring or summer. Trust me on that, since it's not heavy on citrus notes, nothing like that. It's more of like a woody, resinous, berry-like fragrance. I believe there is honey in here as well, which I love the note of honey in fragrances, such as Back to Black, Go Night, things like that, the honey note. In here, the honey note it's kind of like a backbone to this fragrance, which actually brings the longevity to it as well, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, there is a note of honey. So good. Yeah, as far as the oud goes in this, if you love oud as a note in fragrances and you want a 100% natural oud, you're kind of sick of like the synthetic oud oils and stuff like that, that just cannot resemble the real oud. I believe real oud actually brings, like I said, fragrances to life, guys. It just brings body to them. And I just love that, especially with this fragrance here. Now, I believe most of Fragrance du Bois fragrances actually include oud. I know not all of them, but I believe most of them have their natural oud, which they use the same oud in every fragrance from what I've heard. So it's always gonna be that same kind of oud note that pretty much you can tell it is a Fragrance du Bois just from that oud note alone. And like I said, I have 3 of them in my collection and they all have that oud note in them. And it definitely resembles each other. Yeah, so good, so elegant. Now you're probably gonna want to wear this more like on special occasions. This would probably even be a good date night fragrance as well. It's very masculine in my opinion, just because it's very woody, oudy, blackberry, resinous, and spicy as well. But yeah, you're gonna want to stick to special occasions, maybe a date night out, or if you're going to like a wedding, this will work perfect, especially like a fall wedding or a winter wedding. Definitely be able to rock this one and stand out from the crowd, and everyone's gonna be asking you what you're wearing. Oh man, I love this stuff. I really love it. And especially since it's turning fall now, this is gonna be a staple in my fall rotation. If you guys didn't watch my top 10 fall niche fragrances of 2021 pretty much that I'm excited to wear, New York Intense came in at #1, and that's for good reason, guys. So for that reason, since this is a natural oud, very elegant fragrance, I'm gonna give this smell a 10 out of 10 for New York Intense. I absolutely love this one, and I cannot wait to wear it in the fall months. Let's go over and talk about the performance now. All right, so talking about the performance of New York Intense. Now, as far as the performance goes with this fragrance, the longevity is very, very solid. Like I said, this is a pretty concentrated fragrance. That's why they warn you, do not spray on fabric because it will stain. So the longevity for this does last quite a long time. I get about 8+ hours with it. It's not a beast mode as far as longevity goes, but it is very, very solid and definitely above being average as far as that goes. Now, the longevity on this one, for like the first maybe 2-3 hours, it does project over a arm's length. So people, when you walk by, they will smell you. But it's definitely not a beast mode as far as the performance and the sillage goes. So I have heard people complain about the longevity of fragrance of Bois. I don't think it deserves complaints about it. It definitely does last a long time and projects pretty solid, but there are some fragrances that project more than this one. This is more, like I said, an elegant fragrance, more for close quarters, like date night, stuff like that. It's not gonna be a beast, where you're gonna fill up an entire room, for instance. But people will notice you when you pretty much pass by. The sillage definitely is very good as well. But for performance, I'm gonna have to go with an 8.5 out of 10 for New York Intense. Let's talk about my overall rating for this one. So for my overall assessment, going back to obviously the packaging and presentation, I did give it a solid 10 out of 10. It's absolutely pure luxury when it comes to the attention to detail for these. It's definitely some of the best packaging and presentation that money can buy as far as fragrances go. And then of course for the smell, I absolutely love this stuff. I am so excited to wear this for fall and winter when those come up, when it starts to cool down, especially where I'm from. It's gonna work wonderful for that. So I gave that a 10 out of 10, especially for the natural oud. If you're a fan of that oud, especially being natural and you wanna try natural oud, check out the House of Fragrance du Bois. I promise you guys, you will fall in love with the house as I did. And then of course for the performance, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, just because it's not a beast mode fragrance, but it definitely is good and it deserves an 8.5 out of 10 because it's not bad by any means. Like I said, it projects very, very well and lasts over 8 hours plus. So 8 out of 10 for that. So for my overall rating of New York Intense, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. Now, if it was a beast mode, in my eyes, it would have got a solid 10 out of 10 just because of the other aspects of it. I am in love with this fragrance, but for that reason, it's getting a 9.5 out of 10, which is very, very solid on my score. I absolutely cannot wait to wear this one more often. But that's gonna wrap up my review of New York Intense. Let me know down below if you've tried New York Intense or New York Fifth Avenue, which is another new release in the New York line, or any of the other fragrance du Bois. I'm very curious to hear your opinions on this one or the house in general. But leave the video a like if you enjoyed the review. Leave a comment as well. Let me know your thoughts, everything like that, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch all you guys in the next fragrance upload. Take care, everybody.